Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. Look at this headline from Cointelegraph. SEC's crypto mom proposes safe harbor framework for token projects. Now, I don't know who started this whole crypto mom thing, but that's what they're calling Hester Pierce with the SEC here, and they have been for some time here. So I don't know if I feel like it really picked up or I just only see it on Cointelegraph. I'm not sure. But there you go. SEC's crypto mom, Hester Pierce, proposes safe harbor framework for token projects. Now, of course, this is an XRP-centric channel, so we're thinking about, at least I am, what that would mean for XRP. We're going to run through the specifics of this piece, of course, but at its heart, at least a big part of what it has to do with, is the concept of cryptocurrency projects being started and becoming sufficiently decentralized so that cryptocurrency in question could no longer be considered a security. Now, before we go any further here, if you would please delicately tap that like button, and if you're confused by the name Crypto Mom, well, hell, I am too. Go ahead and subscribe to the Moon Lambo channel in a show of solidarity, because why the hell not? All right, I got wind of this from XR Plumber, who tagged me along with a bunch of others, so thank you very much. I do appreciate it. And XR Plumber wrote, "Wow, this is big," with a retweet of this from Catherine Coley. Now, Catherine Coley, she is the CEO of Binance US, and she wrote this: "Thank you for prioritizing innovation and growth in the U.S. digital asset markets. I stand united with Hester Pierce, dedicating our efforts to build thoughtful systems for Americans to access these markets," which was in itself a retweet of this from Coin Center, which was an article stating a SEC commissioner proposes safe harbor for projects that raise big funds. And there are a number of articles about this, and so I'm going to run through this Cointelegraph one, though. It's United States Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC Commissioner Hester Pierce has formally proposed safe harbor for token projects. After initially floating the idea in August 2019, Pierce has now formally presented a regulatory vision that would create a safe harbor for projects that raise funds to build decentralized networks. Which doesn't sound bad. Maybe we can get all this garbage about XRP being a security behind us. That doesn't sound so terrible, does it? And I'll tell you what, out of anybody I've ever heard speak from the SEC, she has been the most with it. She has been the most for the adoption of blockchain and cryptocurrencies on the whole. She's for regulation, but hell, I am too. I just want this all figured out so that entities building around the space can figure what they're doing without feeling like they're maybe going to go to jail if they make a misstep. You know, that sounds like a good thing, because that would be good for the economy, and that means it's good for people and families, so on and so forth. Speaking at the International Blockchain Congress in Chicago on February 6th, Pierce, also known as SEC's crypto mom, cringeworthy, has outlined her token safe harbor proposal. The proposal would grant network developers a 3-year grace period to build a decentralized network without fearing SEC legal action. Now, I remember watching a video with Bob Way, and he was either speaking to Alex Cobb or Brad Kimes, both my fellow XRP YouTubers. I want to say it was Alex Cobb, but I couldn't say. Either way, he was talking to one of them. Bob Way was Ripple's 10th employee ever, and he's no longer with the company. It was time to move on. I can't remember what the case was. I don't know if he retired or just found another job. I honestly don't off the top of my head, but he's been gone for, I don't know if it's been a year and a half or whatever it's been. And so he ended up speaking on a bunch of videos with the XRP community and engaging on xrpchat.com and all that type of thing, engaging on Twitter. And he was talking about how in the early days he was concerned. He never knew it. He was kind of like half joking, but there was definitely some truth to it. He's in the early days of Ripple. Like we weren't sure if the FBI was going to come breaking down our door or whatever, busting in and seizing all of our assets and things like this. Because frankly, there never was, especially back then, any sort of framework for how to behave if you're a company building on top of a blockchain. In this case, building on top of the XRP ledger, which is a blockchain. And so it's so funny in 2020, still trying to figure this damn stuff out. Within that period, anyway, developers would be, quote, unrestrained by the registration provisions of the federal securities laws, so long as the conditions are met. Pierce's proposal suggests, according to a draft proposal shared with Cointelegraph by the SEC. In other words, The 3 grace period grants compliant developers time to build that's a broken sentence. I didn't catch that earlier. A decentralized network, as well as attract participants before they become a subject of strict regulatory proceedings by the SEC. However, developers will still have to prove that they are indeed building an open source network and provide relevant disclosures in order to qualify for this exemption. Now, this speaks to a truth that I've been talking about on this channel for some time, which is that it goes back to the core reason you can't just shoehorn cryptocurrencies into an existing legislative framework, regulatory framework. And you know why? The biggest reason? It's because cryptocurrencies will change over time, the degree to which they're centralized or decentralized. And so you can imagine a company launching a cryptocurrency. At the beginning, if there's almost no adoption, or no outside adoption, it looks pretty centralized, doesn't it? If there's nobody else, participating in the network. And under that situation, that kind of makes the cryptocurrency look like a security, doesn't it? But then, as more participants join in, it gets to the point, there'll be a tipping point where the entity that started the blockchain, it's no longer got any actual power, and no meaningful power, no controlling power, at least, over the blockchain. And at that point, it's decentralized. And at that point, how could it be a security if the company in question that started it doesn't even have any control over it anymore, right? And so that's why with this technology, it's just a new animal, and the existing regulatory framework just never addressed that problem. So we're getting closer to it here, acknowledging, okay, well, if you start this, we understand, it's basically an acknowledgement, the way I'm reading this, is that, yeah, if you launch a coin, it would probably, by default, be a security, except we're going to give you this 3-year period to go ahead and develop the network, get it sufficiently decentralized so that it would not be. And so that's why even if you wanted to make the argument that XRP was at some point early on a security, and I'm not making that case, I'm just saying that even if you wanted to, there's no way in hell that you could argue, from my perspective, that it is a security now, because a lot of reasons, but one of the most important, obviously, Ripple doesn't control the XRP ledger. They just freaking do not. Facts are facts, my friends. All right, and then they have the subheading, token projects would be still subject to a number of SEC's requirements. Now, this is Crypto Media. They should have written token projects would still be, but they wrote be still. Man, nobody checks their damn work. Go home, Cointelegraph, you're drunk. Anyway, as such, the initial development team should ensure that at the end of 3-year period, token transactions would not be securities transactions as the network matures into a decentralized or functioning network on which the token is in active use. The proposal also suggests a multitude of important public disclosures, such as data on source code, transactions, information on how tokens are generated or mined, as well as the description of burning tokens, validating transactions, and governance mechanisms. And if you heard whimpering in the background, that's my pet peeve. She is currently sleeping, and she doesn't know I'm talking about her because she only knows so many words. But I don't know if the mic picked it up, but I feel like I need to address that just in case. She's cute. Anyway, my pet peeve is my 5-year-old terrier, for those of you that don't know. Anyway, then it continues. At the same time, the proposed safe harbor would not be available to projects that have already been subject to disqualification as a bad actor under the securities law. Okay, makes sense. Pierce emphasized. Additionally, the commissioner noted that the safe harbor would still reserve the SEC's anti-fraud authority with respect to token sales under the safe harbor. Pierce's drafted remarks read as follows. Although the safe harbor would preempt state securities laws, it would not stand in the way of state anti-fraud actions. If anyone lied in connection with selling tokens pursuant to the safe harbor, the SEC or a state could bring an enforcement action. We all know that there are plenty of those kinds of projects polluting the crypto space. So let me jump forward a little bit now. This is an actual draft, by the way. If you want to check this out, it gets too into the weeds for the sake of this video. I just wanted to get to start at the high-level stuff because I've probably already been talking about this close to 10 minutes, I'm guessing. And this is just scratching the surface of all of this. And I honestly have not finished reading this whole thing anyway. But again, outside the scope of this video, there's always something to learn and dig into. But if you want to check it out, you can find this at, I know Hester Pierce. I feel like I had a tab open with this somewhere, did I not? I swear I did. Yeah, here we go. Frecky tagged me in this, so shout out to you, Frecky. It's at MaxXRPBTC. And if you want to check that out, there's a link from Hester Pierce of the SEC, who is at hesterpierce.com, HESTERPEIRCE. You can check that out. Now, here's a tweet from Galgatron I did want to share in response to Hester Pierce, and she wrote, "Sorry for the delay. Here's the safe harbor draft at the end of the speech. Let me know what works and what doesn't." So she's actually seeking feedback from those just in the world of crypto in general. Like, anybody can go ahead and respond to this, and she's got 60 responses so far. I want to share with you Galgatron's response, since he's a notable member of the XRP community, and I find him to be rather insightful. And here's what he wrote. "I find the 3-year imposition to be too random and rigid. Can it not just be a series of requirements to fulfill decentralization, along with a bullet list of disallowed activities during this period?" And I think I had another one from him too. It was this one here. It was already on my screen. Check this out. And this is in response to just the whole concept of this safe harbor law. And this is coming from Galgatron, notable XRP community member. And he writes, "This would be an incredible step forward and instantly purifies XRP from any security designation, but I personally feel it will not follow through because of the specter of abuse it enables. I've never hoped to be so wrong, though." Yeah, as far as the potential specter of abuse, that's a notable concern. Okay, absolutely. There would be those, of course, that would try to abuse any regulatory framework for anything, right? There's always going to be some bad actors, but the question is, can you get it sufficiently in place that it functions on the whole? I don't know. I frankly, I don't know. Flip a coin. Maybe. They're going to have to do something, though, all right? Because the existing regulatory framework doesn't consider the technological advances that are blockchain in general, with native cryptocurrencies attached to them. So it doesn't really work currently. Now, as far as this purifying XRP from a security designation, I'd be interested to hear more of his thoughts on why, because from my perspective, as I was stating earlier, it's the case that cryptocurrencies, for the way I look at it, is they could go from being more decentralized, less decentralized, which also means they could go from being a security to not a security, maybe flip back again. And so if that's the case, and they've already sufficiently gone past that, then it wouldn't be a security already, right? Because all this does is say, okay, you've got this 3-year window, but Ripple's already been functioning for how long, right? And I don't know for sure that it would apply to them. And so Galgatron seems to believe that is the case. And so I would be curious to pick his brain a little further just to learn what he's, along what lines he's thinking. But, and I'm sure that there will be more, there's going to be more discussion on this. This is just a starting point here. But I don't know for sure that this would affect or impact Ripple in any meaningful way. Beyond that, I will say this. I don't think that the SEC is going to come down with the hammer on Ripple randomly after over 7 years of them operating. They've gone after all sorts of other companies that started up well after them in 2017. I'd be blown away. So there's a lot to figure out, but still, I don't think it's good. I don't suspect it's going to be an issue. I'd be surprised. But this is probably a good stopping point. I am not a financial advisor. Do not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo!